All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about a question that humans have been obsessed with forever, but with a crazy new twist. We're talking about immortality. But forget myths and monuments, we're talking about technology. The big question is, can our digital selves actually live on forever?
No, really, just take a second and think about that. Imagine you pass away, but instead of, silence, your family could still text you for advice. They could hear your jokes, maybe even get emails that seem like they're from you long after you're gone. This isn't some sci-fi movie plot anymore. This is becoming a real thing. It's what we're calling the digital afterlife.
You see, for pretty much all of history, living on just meant being remembered, right? People built pyramids, wrote epic poems, painted portraits, all that stuff. It was a one-way street, kind of passive. But now, we're on a whole new frontier, a place where our legacy isn't just a static memory, but something active, something interactive. And it's all powered by that massive digital footprint every single one of us is leaving behind. So let's really dive into this new frontier, this idea of going from monuments to megabytes. For thousands of years, if you wanted to leave a mark, you had to build something physical, something that could, stand the test of time. But now, legacies are being built out of something you can't even touch, data. So what does it actually mean when a person's entire memory becomes basically a collection of ones and zeros floating around in the cloud? And that question leads us directly to the rise of something called grief tech. This is where memory literally becomes interactive. And I've got to stress, this isn't some far-off future idea. It's a real, kind of controversial industry that's happening right now. And it's all built on this one incredibly powerful idea. What if your memories didn't just live in your head? What if they could actually talk back to you? So what is grief tech, really? Well, at its core, it's technology that scoops up all the digital breadcrumbs a person leaves behind. We're talking texts, emails, voice notes, photos, you name it. Then it uses AI to piece it all together, kind of like a digital puzzle to simulate their personality. The whole point is to create this feeling that they're still present. But yeah, it definitely starts to blur the line between a memory and something else entirely. And look, this is not just theory. Let me give you a really powerful example of this in action. Back in 2020, there was a man who was, just devastated by the loss of his fiancée. So he took all of her old text messages, fed them into an AI program, and created a chatbot version of her that he could talk to. It's just a profound look at how deeply personal and intense this technology can get. And this industry is already exploding. We're seeing all sorts of things pop up. You've got the AI chatbots, like the one I just mentioned, but there are also services that can create these incredibly realistic voice clones. Seriously, it's uncanny. We're also seeing interactive digital memorials and even the first generation of virtual avatars, all designed to keep a person's digital legacy alive. Okay, so where is all this headed? What's the next step? Well, that brings us to the idea of avatars in virtual eternity. We're quickly moving beyond just, chatbots on a screen. The next logical leap is to take these AI simulations and put them into immersive 3D worlds, like virtual reality, creating a presence that feels persistent, like they're really there.
I mean, just try to picture this for a second. You put on a pair of VR glasses, and suddenly you're standing in a virtual living room. And sitting right there, on the couch, is your grandmother who passed away years ago. She looks at you, she smiles, she talks to you in her voice, and maybe she tells you that one story you thought you'd never hear again. I mean, wow. That's the promise, or maybe the lure, of virtual eternity.
So how in the world would you even build a digital soul? Well, it kind of boils down to a recipe with 4 key ingredients. First, you need the voice data, all their old recordings. Then, you mix in all the text data, a lifetime of emails and messages. After that, you shape the visual likeness using photos and videos. And the final, trickiest ingredient? You try to capture their behavioral patterns, all the little choices and quirks that actually made them them. Okay, to be clear, everything we've talked about so far is basically a really, really advanced simulation. But some futurists think we're on a path to something much bigger. They predict that in maybe 50 to 100 years, we could actually achieve something called mind uploading. We're talking about scanning the entire map of a human brain and basically uploading it. That would be a quantum leap, from just a clever simulation to potentially a true digital consciousness. And this is where things get really complicated. This technology forces us to confront some huge, thorny questions, what I'm calling the ghost in the machine. Because this stops being a tech problem and starts being a massive ethical and philosophical one. The whole conversation has to change from, hey,
what can we build, to, wait a minute, what should we build? And here's the absolute core of it. Is a digital avatar you?
Or is it just an echo? A really, really sophisticated echo, sure, but still just a puppet dancing to the strings of your old data. No real awareness, no feelings. Just a mirror, not the person in it.
And you have to think about the emotional risks for the people left behind. I mean, this technology could be a huge comfort for some, but for others, it could become a crutch, trapping them in their grief instead of letting them process it. And what if the AI gets it wrong? What if it starts making up memories or acts in a way that just wasn't them? That could completely warp how you remember someone you loved. Then there's the massive legal and ethical minefield. Seriously, who owns your digital ghost? Who's in charge of it after you die? Your family? The tech company that built it? Could they use your avatar in an ad? Could they delete you? We have basically zero answers for any of this yet. So really, it all boils down to two very different camps, doesn't it? On one hand, you have the optimists. They see this beautiful future where wisdom is preserved, where you can actually talk to your great-great-grandparents, where family bonds can literally last forever. But then you've got the skeptics, and they just see a hollow simulation, a cheap, commercialized illusion of life, not the real thing. Which leaves us with one final massive question to chew on. If technology could really keep you alive forever, would that digital being still be, well, you? At what point does it stop being just a memory and become something else entirely? Something to think about. Thanks for listening.